friends, welcome back to She's At It Again. This is our first video of the new year, and I'm looking forward to sharing some new things with you. It's not going to be any different than what we've done before, though. I'm not saying I'm going to change my format. This is the only way I know how to do it. This is just me. But today we are going to be making cheesy bacon chicken pasta casserole. Now, we have some friends who are on a meal train because they just had a baby, and I hadn't had a chance to make anything send over there yet. I feel so bad about not signing up for things, but I never know who's coming and going at my house sometimes. And during Christmas, it's kind of been that way. My daughter came in from overseas. We were so excited that she was home, but we just never knew from one day to the next what we were going to be doing. But these friends, sweet friends, have had a new baby, and I just want to take something over there. I normally just say, I didn't sign up. This is just to fill in for when either you just don't feel like eating what's been brought, or somebody brings something and it's totally gross. And they get a kick out of that, because I know anybody that signs up on meal train is a good cook and their food's going to taste great. So anyway, let's go over here. This has got a few steps to it, really not a lot of ingredients, not a lot of steps at all, but I am happy to divide this in half and give them half of it, and we'll have half of it tonight for dinner. So let's go get this cooked up and we'll take a look. All right, we are over here at the stovetop. I have my pan heating up, and I have about 4 tablespoons of butter. You can use butter, you can use olive oil, you can use coconut oil, but I prefer butter in this dish just because I do. But you can use up to 6 tablespoons, but I'm just doing 4 for right now. I also have about 4 really good cremini mushrooms, just average size, chopped up. And I buy these when they're on sale because organic mushrooms are not cheap. Okay, I'm going to turn this on. My husband says don't ever turn this on because it washes everything out. I'm just going to turn it on for a second. Okay, this is my mushrooms, and yes, they're frozen. All right, now I'll turn it back off. I'll get in trouble. So when my local Kroger that I go to every other week to shop for groceries, when they have their organic mushrooms marked down, I just buy everything that's there. And I bring it home, I brush it off with a real clean toothbrush that I only use in the kitchen, and chop them up, put them in a bag, and they're always in my freezer when I need them. So unless I just need a fresh mushroom for something, which I rarely do, that has to be at room temperature and like looks fresh. I mean, it's a mushroom. You can use it in a recipe. So we're going to put this in there. Like I said, this is about 4. I just kind of eyeballed it. About 4 mushrooms chopped up. I have my heat turned up pretty high, so that's just sauteing in some butter. I am going to add a half a teaspoon of salt. Now what we're doing is we're making a recipe for cream of mushroom and cream of chicken soup. But pretend I didn't say that. Do not go and buy the canned stuff and put it in this. We're making better choices here, folks. And this is so easy, you're not going to believe it. And you also will not believe how much better this tastes than what you could get out of a can. So fresh mushrooms, fresh butter. We're going to use milk. We're going to use some homemade chicken broth, bone broth. This is actually bone broth, but you can use chicken broth if you want. And the key to this is cream cheese. So we're going to let this saute for just a bit. And because the mushrooms are frozen, it's going to take just a while, so we'll speed things up a bit. Okay, our mushrooms have finally gotten hot, and the butter is starting to kind of sizzle. So we're going to add some flour to this to make a roux, and we need about 4 tablespoons, which is 1/4 of a cup. I'm just going to eyeball it here. So about 1/4 of a cup. Put that right on top. And stir this in. And what that's going to do is the mixture of oil and the flour is going to make a paste. That's what a roux is. And then we're going to add our liquid to it. The This is what this looks like. Okay, I'm gonna get in trouble again. I'm such a rebel. This is what our mushroom mixture looks like. Okay, I'm turning it back off. Gotta stay out of trouble. I always know when I've done something like that, like turn the light on or said something wrong, but because my husband is either sitting at the desk laughing or he's just letting out this huffy in such exasperation because I won't follow directions. And the other day, I was in the kitchen and he's over at the desk and I hear him go, ugh. And I hesitated, but I said, what did I do? And he said, you turned the light on. Woo! Call the police. He said, you washed it out. It looked perfect, and then you turned the light on. I can't see anything. I said, they can see it. They know what's going on. Okay, this kind of starts clinging together, almost like a ball of dough. You can see that there. And I'm going to slowly add our liquid. Now, I'm going to put about 2/3 of a cup of this strong chicken broth in there, this bone broth that I showed you just a minute ago from the jar. Give this a stir and break up all the lumpy dumpies of flour that might be in there. And you can see that this starts turning into a creamy mixture. And then we have about 1.3 cups of whole milk in this. I'm going to go ahead and put my cream cheese in right now while that mixture is still kind of thick. That way it'll dissolve a little bit better. You want about 2 tablespoons of cream cheese. Let me turn the light on again. Getting in trouble here. That's the cream cheese. Once I learned the trick about adding cream cheese to the cream of mushroom or cream of anything that you're making and the flavor that it gives, and it's just so stinking good. You just want to drink it out of a cup, seriously. Of course, it was after I wrote a cookbook and had all these recipes in there for using the cream of mushroom base and cream of chicken stuff. So I have to write this page of corrections and add with every cookbook that I sell because I don't want people to miss out on this good flavor. It's just an unbelievable difference that the cream cheese makes. And it's just a small amount, but it does such a good job of bringing out that flavor with a little bit of tartness of the cream cheese, and it's so good. Okay, I'm going to kind of get the cream cheese dissolved a bit, or melted in there, if you will, because it's still cold. And then I'll add my milk to it, and that will be our soup base. Then we'll move on to our next step, which is cooking some bacon, and then we're going to saute some chicken in it. And meanwhile, I'm going to be heating up this stock pot of water to cook our pasta in. We're going to need 1 pound of pasta, and I'm going to see if I have some rotini. I'm not worried about not having pasta because I have pasta of all shapes and sizes and colors up there, but in my pantry, but I want the rotini pasta that it's like a little spiral and it holds the sauce really, really well. But if I don't have that, I'm sure I have some ziti or some penne or something like that I can use. I am not afraid of running out of pasta. Someday I'm going to do a video on which pasta to buy and which to avoid, because there is a secret word that you look for and you don't buy that. I'm going to do a video soon, I promise. I might even take you to the supermarket with me and show you the magic word on the package of pasta. All right, that's getting nice and thick. You can see, let me turn the light on, trouble again. So this looks like gravy, basically. Okay, turn it back off. Most of my cream cheese has melted in there and incorporated with the rest of it. And I'm going to go ahead and pour the milk in now. to let this thicken up just a bit, and then we'll set this aside. I'll stir it ever so often, but I got things to put over at the sink. Okay. I found this in my pantry, so this is what we're going to use. It's fusilli, which is like a rotini pasta, but the spirals are hollow. Okay, our mixture is starting to thicken up. This will get thicker as it cools off, so I'm not too concerned about it. It's going to be in a pasta sauce. If this were just a soup and the entire recipe depended on the consistency of it, I would have added a little bit more flour. I would have added a little bit more butter, but I'm not concerned about the consistency of it necessarily. I want the taste of those mushrooms and the taste of that strong chicken bone broth in there. And the cream cheese, of course. That's kind of the star of the show, according to me, but maybe not to anybody else. So I'm going to turn my heat off, let that sit there for just a while, and I'm going to go get my bacon ready for us to slice and for our chicken so we can cut it up too. All right, we have our bacon ready. This is fancy bacon. This is good stuff. I was excited about this when I got it, but here's what I look for. Uncured. Can you see that word right there? That's what you look for. There's no nitrates, no nitrites in it. Here's the bonus, no added sugar. I love, love, love that part. But it doesn't have any nitrates and nitrites in it. Those are the carcinogens that are in our food that we're always griping about, but we don't know what to look for. They don't tell us the, signs and words and information to hunt for on this. So anyway, all right, this recipe calls for 6 slices of bacon, but I'm telling you, this stuff is majorly thick. So I'm going to use 4 slices. I'm going to stick this back in the refrigerator real quick, and I will cook the rest of that bacon off soon, because I like the bacon drippings as much as I like the bacon itself. I mean, I love me some bacon, but I love bacon drippings so much. All right, instead of cooking this in strips, which is kind of silly to cook long strips in a round pan, and then chop it up, I'm going to chop it up beforehand, and it's a whole lot easier to cook. I'm going to go ahead and put my pan on the burner, though. Let's see, I want this burner. I'm kind of playing musical chairs with the burners today, because there's certain size pans that go on certain size burners, of course. If you've never had Duroc pork, it's just a certain breed of pig, and apparently it's really good for bacon, because all the, I would say, finer brands of bacon that I buy is made from Duroc, which I have some apple cinnamon in there. I pulled it out of the freezer yesterday. Going to use it for this recipe, and I noticed last night, oh crud, this says apple cinnamon. I don't think I want this to taste like apple cinnamon, but that would be delightful on something else. All right, I'm going to have this to put in the pan as soon as it gets heated up. In the meantime, I'm going to be cutting this up. And the only thing that's better than organic chicken is organic chicken that's been marked down. Ooh, I get so excited when that happens, because I'm going to buy it anyway. But I was telling my husband yesterday, I said, you know what? It's always nice when somebody gives you a gift, but I love getting the gift of things I'm going to buy already. And I only said that because we were going through the garage to get in his vehicle to go somewhere. And I had, there's one of our local stores going out of business, and I went the other day just to see if they had anything that I needed. And they had my brand of laundry detergent right there, and they had it marked down. I was like, you know what? Any other time I'd be like, yeah, that's great, I got it on sale, or something that I've always wanted, I got on sale. But the fact that I'm going to use it anyway, I just get so excited about stuff like that. If it's stuff that's just on sale to lure me in to buy it and I don't really need it, that's kind of disappointing. I'm not really much of a sucker for stuff like that, but I will fall for it every once in a while. All right, this is semi-thawed, which makes it a little easier to cut up. If you've ever wrestled a piece of chicken that's completely thawed and it's room temperature and it's just flailing all over the cutting board and you can't control it, you know what I'm talking about. This one kind of behaves itself and stays in a nice little row while you're slicing it. All right, let me see if my pan is hot enough to put this in. Yep. Okay, bacon's going in there, and we're going to put our chicken cubes in here. How nice is that for uniform sized chicken cubes? I always like to make sure there's nothing on the underside that is of a different texture that I need to cut off. This is kind of a no big deal thing, but if there's a bone in there, you can bet I want to cut that off there because I don't want anybody to get that in their mouth. That would be horrible. Especially in a pasta dish. Nobody expects to get a bone in their mouth if they're eating pasta. That'd be crazy. So let me see how big this package of chicken is. This is 1.44 pounds. So over a pound, not quite a pound and a half of chicken. But you know, if you cook very much at all, a pound of chicken, I mean, you could ballpark that into 2.5 pounds almost sometime, depending on the dish. Because really, it's a matter of, do you want a lot of meat in it or do you want a little meat? And I'm not one of those people that goes, oh, there's not enough meat in this dish, unless it's just super obvious, unless it's a bacon sandwich. But some people are that way, and they will complain if there's not enough chicken or enough beef or enough pork or enough lamb or something in a dish. But somewhere between a pound to a pound and a half of chicken should be an appropriate amount. All right, I think that's the only thing I have to chop. I'm going to go wash my hands now. I just want y'all to see what happens when you cook bacon and it spatters out, the grease spatters out every once in a while when the temperature's up high. This is what happens. My dogs are so busy licking the floor where the bacon is splattered out. Okay, so we move over. All right, I'm going to show you what this bacon looks like because it's in the pan. And you don't want it super crisp. You just want it cooked enough where it's starting to turn brown. So I'm going to take this out and I'm going to put it in or try to put it in our pan that has the soup mix in it that we just did. I don't have enough hands. It's all going to go together anyway, but I need to take the bacon out so I can put the chicken in here. And the chicken is going to cook in the bacon renderings. Renderings sounds better, sounds healthier than grease, doesn't it? But that's what it is bacon fat. All right, now that is still super hot. All right, here's what the soup looks like over here with the bacon in it. Like I said, I don't have enough hands. I'm trying to get it all in there and make sure you can see what's going in here. All right, this is our chicken. I'm going to add a bit of salt and pepper to this just to season the chicken. So we'll go with about a half a teaspoon of black pepper. Nah, that wasn't half a teaspoon. That's more like a quarter of a teaspoon. We'll do about a little more than a half teaspoon of salt. So about a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, half teaspoon of salt. And I still have my burner on pretty high. It's just that chicken was semi-frozen, so it's gonna take a while to heat back up. All right, I better turn my burner on under this. This is what's gonna cook our pasta over here in this big pot right here. I'm going to add a little bit of salt to that. About a tablespoon of salt's going in my water. And I'll put this to wash. Okay, our chicken's just about done. I'm going to let that cook a little while longer. Let's go here and get some cheese shredded. So this is what we have is, let's see, Monterey Jack. I can't see what you're seeing sometimes. And I have a little more than 8 ounces in here because that's a 1 pound package. And it's not quite half gone. So I'm going to shred just part of this. Leave a little bit, maybe. But really and truly, nobody ever complains because you have too much cheese on something. I still need to put my garlic in the chicken, so I don't want to forget about that. I just don't want to put the garlic in there early enough to where it scorches, because that can pretty much ruin a whole dish for me. So I'm assuming it would for somebody else. I like to put my garlic in there if it's fresh garlic at the last minute. And a garlic powder, garlic granules, that's one thing because you want to put them in there early enough to where they hydrate. But fresh minced garlic, you don't want that to burn. Okay, I think this is about as much as I need. So I'll put this back in the fridge. And our cheese is ready now to add when we mix it all together. Okay, we're good. All right, this is our minced garlic that I've said before, I buy it in a big jar, put it in a smaller jar to keep in this fridge. And I want, let's see, like a heaping teaspoon, so that'd be about 2 teaspoons of freshly minced garlic. That chicken is cooked all the way through. I don't see any pink on anything, so I'm going to turn this burner off, and we'll focus on this one now. When that water heats up, we will add our pasta to it. This is what the pasta looks like. It's hollow. I would say if you're anywhere near my age, which is 61, this is like an old telephone cord, only skinnier. So it's hollow on the inside, but it's spirally like a rotini pasta. And it's called fusilli. All right, our water is starting to boil. And so we'll pour our pasta in. I just don't want it to boil over, which is bound to happen because I have a camera going. All right, here's our pasta. And in that, we're going to put, let me raise this up just a bit. This is our soup mixture with the bacon in it. All right, and then our chicken cooked in the bacon fat. Well, let me get a better handle on this. Give this a stir. See if I can get this closer so you can see what I'm doing. Now we're going to put our cheese on it. This is our Monterey Jack that we just shredded. Monterey Jack melts pretty easily, so this should just stir right in and kind of look like it's dissolving. We're going to take this over and I'm going to, instead of putting it in a 9x13 pan, which this will be a 9x13 completely full, sometimes almost heaped over. So just know that if you have a 9x13, it is going to take up every bit of space in there. So I'm going to divide this into two different pans, two smaller pans, one to send to the friends of ours for the meal train, and then one of them to keep, and we'll maybe have it tonight for dinner, I'm not sure. Okay, let's go over and put it in a pan. Okay, this is our pasta. I better put it in this pan first. This is the one we're keeping at home. I don't know how many people eat with us tonight. Last night, somebody showed up at our door. They were just walking in our neighborhood, showed up at our door, and they wound up eating dinner with us, which was so fun. It was probably more of a blessing to us than it was to them, but it was really nice. A nice surprise. So I'll take a big spoon and just dish this out in here. And if you're asking, did the pasta boil over? Of course it did. I went to check the mail, and as soon as I closed the front door, I could hear it hitting my stovetop. This is probably too big of a pan. I shouldn't put it in this big of a pan, but that's okay. It'll just heat up quicker. All right, and then because I don't have any square aluminum pans to line, I have a pie pan, and I have parchment down because I don't like my food touching aluminum. I don't want their food touching aluminum. So we're going to put this in this pan and fix it up so they can just heat it up in the oven. Let's see. This is not a new recipe to me. This is one I've made before, and I know how good it is. And let me tell you, even though it looks like it's a chicken and pasta dish, it's a cream cheese and bacon dish. I'm just telling you, that's what makes it. It is the star of the show. And the cheese is good too, as far as the Monterey Jack, but the bacon and the cream cheese. Okay, I'll make a salad or something to go with this and send it on its way. But it doesn't look very pretty, but I guarantee you they're going to appreciate it. Okay, how was that for an easy pasta dish for the first video of the year? It's not the first day of the year. This is January the 2nd. But anyway, there's our dish. There's a dish for the Millers and for baby Layton. And welcome to the world. Thanks for joining us, and recipes in the description as always, and we look forward to sharing something again with you real soon. And I'm gonna put out that video about what to look for when you buy pasta and flour. So see you soon, bye. Okay, if you're wondering how I'm gonna wrap that meal to send to our friends, here's what you do. Shiny side up, right directions on it. So this says bake at 350 for 25 to 30 minutes covered. And I don't want the foil touching the food. That's the big thing. Big no-no. Just over that. Seal it on all sides. It's ready to go, and they don't have to bring a pan back. Thanks, guys.